Ladies and gentlemen, there will be storms in your life. There will be noise, chaos, doubt, deadlines, pressure, and in the middle of it all, there's you, trying to find your center, trying to breathe. But let me remind you today, success doesn't always come from speed. Sometimes it comes from stillness, from calm, from quiet, deliberate action. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't need to rush to prove anything. You can pause, think, then move, and you'll find that the calmest person in the room is often the one with the most control. Success isn't about being loud, it's about being clear. It's about making decisions with peace, not panic. You rise higher when your mind is grounded, so when life gets loud, be the silence that listens, be the breath between the chaos, be the light that doesn't flicker under pressure. Keep calm not because you're weak, but because you are wise enough to know that storms pass. That emotions settle, that success comes not by force, but by faith and focus, and when you do that, you'll find you don't just survive, you succeed with grace. Calm is a strategy, not a weakness. It's easy to mistake calmness for passivity, to think that being calm means doing nothing, saying nothing, or accepting defeat. But true calm is intentional. It is the decision to stay grounded when everything around you is shaking. It is choosing clarity over chaos. Calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to not let panic control the outcome. In the middle of pressure, stress, and expectations, calm is the quiet confidence that says, "I will handle this." When others are loud, frantic, and emotional, calm gives you power, because when you're calm, you're clear. When you're calm, you can see the big picture. You don't just react, you respond with purpose. Calm is not about being slow. It's about being sure. It's about being aware of your emotions, but not being ruled by them. It's about holding steady in conversations where others lose their temper. It's about standing firm when the world tries to rush you into decisions you're not ready to make. Calm gives you time to think, to reflect, and to choose your next move wisely. It allows you to act with intention, not impulse, and in high pressure moments, that's the difference between success and regret. People underestimate calm because they don't understand the strength it takes to stay composed. But calm is a discipline. It's trained, not born. It's a choice you make again and again, especially when it would be easier to react emotionally. Calm helps you listen better. It helps you communicate more clearly. It helps you build trust, respect, and influence without having to raise your voice. In business, in relationships, in crisis, calm earns you credibility. Because while anyone can shout, not everyone can stay steady when things go wrong. The calmest person in the room is often the one who's truly in control, and the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more presence, more focus, more grounded leadership. Calm doesn't mean ignoring the storm. It means knowing you are the anchor. It means knowing your strength is not in how loud you are, but in how stable you remain. Calm is not weakness. It is power, practiced in silence. Stillness leads to clarity, especially under pressure. In a world that never stops moving, stillness can feel unnatural. We're taught to chase, to hustle, to respond instantly. But there is wisdom in the pause, there is power in waiting, breathing, and simply observing. When pressure rises, so does noise, both around you and inside your head. Thoughts race, emotions flare. And decisions made in that state are often clouded by fear, doubt, or urgency. But stillness brings you back to yourself. It creates space between what's happening and how you choose to respond. It allows you to hear your own voice, not the voice of panic. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time with a clear mind. When you're still, you notice things others miss. You see the angles, the patterns, the deeper truth behind the surface chaos. Stillness gives you the ability to slow time in a fast, moving world. It lets you study the moment before it passes. It brings your focus inward so you can find the answer that's already there. Under pressure, The world tells you to act now, but stillness reminds you to act wisely, because not every action is progress, and not every reaction is needed. Sometimes, the most strategic move is to pause. To sit with the tension, to let the noise pass through you without letting it shake you. Stillness builds trust in yourself, in your ability to stay calm, to wait for insight, to move when the path becomes clear. It allows you to reset your energy and align with your purpose. It's in the stillness that ideas are born, emotions are processed, and direction is found. You can't see your reflection in running water. But when the surface is still, everything becomes clear. Clarity doesn't come from force. It comes from allowing the mind to settle, from letting the storm pass instead of trying to control the wind. Stillness gives you access to your highest thinking, your deepest knowing. It makes space for creativity, for truth, and for alignment. Stillness is not escape. It's preparation. It's the sacred pause before intentional action. Success thrives on patience, not panic. Panic tells you to rush, to act fast, to fix everything now, to prove yourself before you're ready. But patience tells you to trust, to take one step at a time, to allow the process to unfold. Panic creates noise. It clouds your mind, tightens your chest, and shortens your vision. It makes you reactive. It pushes you into choices that aren't aligned with your purpose. Patience, on the other hand, clears the path. It opens your eyes to timing. It allows you to move when it matters, not just when it's loud. You see, real success isn't built in moments of panic. It's built in moments of quiet persistence. In the days when nothing seems to be moving, but you keep showing up anyway. Panic demands results. Patience builds foundations, and what you build with patience lasts, because it's not rushed, it's not fragile, it's rooted. Everyone wants the breakthrough. Few are willing to wait for the right season. Panic says, you're falling behind. Patience says, stay in your lane. Panic looks for shortcuts. Patience trusts the process. When you move from a place of panic, you often make things worse. You waste energy. You chase things that don't belong to you. You settle for what's fast instead of waiting for what's right. But when you're patient, you stay in control. You learn to breathe through the unknown. You understand that nothing good grows overnight. That pressure is not a sign to quit, it's an invitation to deepen your focus. Success is not always visible while it's happening. It grows slowly, quietly, internally, and only those who are patient enough to keep going through the silent seasons ever see the full reward. Panic is a reaction, patience is a discipline, and the people who win in the end are rarely the ones who sprint from the start. They're the ones who stayed steady, who didn't give up, who didn't let panic dictate their path. They waited, worked, learned, and trusted, because they knew that lasting success isn't found in chaos. It's found in calm, in patience, and in the unwavering belief that your time is coming. You don't need to react to everything, learn to respond wisely. Not every situation deserves your immediate energy. Not every comment needs a reply. Not every challenge is meant to be met with force. When you react, you give away your power. You let emotions lead and logic fade into the background. Reactions are quick. They're loud. They come from habit, fear, or ego. But a response is different. A response is thoughtful. It's measured. It comes from a calm place inside you. There's strength in not taking the bait. In pausing before you speak, in thinking before you move. You are not obligated to attend every argument you're invited to. You are not required to defend yourself every time someone misunderstands you. Maturity is knowing that silence can be more powerful than a reaction. Wisdom is knowing the difference between what deserves your attention and what deserves your release. When you respond wisely, you choose clarity over chaos. You protect your peace instead of proving your point. And that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're focused. It means you understand that reacting to everything drains you and distracts you. Sometimes people are just projecting their pain. Sometimes the moment is just a test. Sometimes the best thing you can do is nothing at all. Give yourself space to feel, but don't let feelings drive your decisions. You can acknowledge the pressure without acting from it. You can feel anger and still choose kindness. You can feel frustration and still speak with grace. Responding wisely doesn't mean being slow. It means being intentional. It means waiting long enough to understand before you act. Long enough to see the full picture, not just the frame. The goal is not to be reactive, it's to be responsive, to stay grounded when others lose control, to move with purpose, not emotion, because your peace matters more than proving a point. Your energy is too valuable to waste on every trigger. You are not controlled by what happens around you. You are guided by what lives within you. And that's your strength. That's your power. To choose response over reaction again and again. Emotional control is power in any situation. It's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about not letting them take the lead. It's about being aware of what you feel, but choosing how you express it. How you hold it, how you let it shape your actions. When your emotions are in control of you, your choices become reactions, your vision narrows, you say things you don't mean, you make moves that cost you later. But when you're in control of your emotions, you become steady, clear, focused. In the heat of the moment, emotional control separates leaders from followers. It turns tension into influence. It turns chaos into strategy. You can't stop people from testing you. You can't stop life from throwing surprises, but you can control how you show up in those moments. You can stay calm when others are losing it. You can speak with intention instead of impulse. You can walk away instead of escalating, and that doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It means you know that power isn't in how loud you yell or how fast you respond, but in how well you manage yourself. Your emotions are messengers. They tell you where the pain is, where the joy is, where the fear lies, but they are not meant to drive your life. You are the driver. You decide when to act, when to pause, when to speak, and when to let go. Emotional control gives you that freedom. It's a quiet power, the kind that earns respect without demanding it, because anyone can lose their temper, anyone can break under pressure, but it takes strength to remain centered, to keep your energy clean, to move with purpose even when your heart is loud. You become untouchable not when you control the world, but when you control your reactions to it. That's the real win, to feel everything deeply and still choose your response wisely. That's emotional control, and that's where your true power lies. Calm minds make better decisions and avoid burnout. When your mind is calm, you can see more clearly. You think before you move. You listen before you speak. You pause long enough to understand the full picture. Pressure doesn't shake you as much when you're calm. Deadlines, demands, distractions, they're still there, but you don't let them dictate your every move. A calm mind doesn't rush. It responds. It weighs options. It considers long-term consequences. It asks, is this the right choice? Instead of just, is this the fast one? When you're calm, you don't confuse busyness with progress. You know that rest is part of the process, that a clear mind makes sharper decisions. Burnout comes when you run on fumes, when your mind is cluttered, when you say yes to everything, when you forget to breathe, to reset, to slow down. But a calm mind protects your energy. It sets boundaries. It prioritizes. It doesn't chase every fire. It handles what truly matters. You make better choices when you're not in survival mode. You lead better when you're not constantly reacting. You live better when your mind has space to think, to feel, to create. Calm doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters with a peaceful focus. It means trusting that you don't need to force things to make them happen. You just need to be steady, grounded, present, In a world that rewards speed, calm is your edge. It gives you stamina. It keeps you from burning out while everyone else is crashing. It's the pause that helps you find clarity. It's the deep breath that brings you back to yourself. It's the quiet voice that says, you're still in control. You don't have to match the noise around you. You don't have to prove anything in panic. You can lead from peace. You can grow from balance. You can succeed from stillness, because a calm mind makes room for wisdom, and wisdom builds the kind of success that doesn't collapse under pressure. Being centered builds inner confidence that doesn't rely on noise. When you are centered, you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. You don't need constant validation. You don't chase attention, approval, or applause. You know who you are. You know what you bring. You know your value, even when no one's watching. Being centered means being rooted in something deeper than circumstance. It means your peace doesn't break when things get loud. It means your worth isn't shaken when others doubt you. There's a quiet power in people who are centered. They walk into rooms with presence, not performance. They lead with clarity, not chaos. They speak with intention, not ego. Centered people don't need to overcompensate. They're not desperate to prove. They let their energy speak before their words ever do. Because when your confidence comes from within, you stop measuring yourself by the noise around you. You stop letting outside opinions define your direction. The world tells you to be louder, faster, more visible. But being centered reminds you that real strength comes from being aligned with your values, aligned with your truth, aligned with your purpose. It's not that you don't feel the pressure. It's that you don't let the pressure push you off course. You return to your center, to your breath, to your clarity. From that place, you choose your next step not out of fear, but out of focus. Inner confidence is built in the moments no one sees. When you keep going even when it's quiet. When you believe in yourself even when it's hard. When you choose calm over conflict, direction over distraction. Being centered doesn't mean you never fall. It means you know how to come back to balance, how to reset, how to realign. That kind of confidence can't be taken away. Because it was never based on noise to begin with. It was built in the stillness, strengthened by patience, and protected by purpose. Focus comes from quiet, intentional thinking. It doesn't come from multitasking. It doesn't come from rushing through the noise. It comes from stepping back, slowing down, and giving your mind the space to breathe. In the quiet, your thoughts begin to settle, the clutter fades, the distractions lose their grip. And what really matters begins to rise to the surface. Intentional thinking is not just about solving problems. It's about asking the right questions. It's about taking your attention off the chaos and placing it on what truly moves you forward. You can't think clearly in a storm of noise. You can't focus when your mind is chasing 10 things at once. You have to protect your focus. You have to create moments of quiet, not just for peace, but for precision. Focus isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most fully, deeply, and without distraction. When your mind is quiet, you can listen, you can reflect, you can see the path more clearly. You stop reacting, you start creating. You stop chasing everything that looks urgent and start aligning with what is truly important. Quiet isn't a weakness, it's where your sharpest thinking lives. It's where your direction becomes clear. We often wait for focus to show up, but it doesn't come to a crowded mind. It arrives when you make space for it, when you turn off the noise, when you let your mind rest long enough to hear your own thoughts. Intentional thinking takes discipline. It requires you to say no to distractions. It requires you to be still long enough to go deep instead of wide. That's when the breakthrough happens, not in the rush, but in the silence. The world will try to pull you in every direction, but focus is the decision to stay with what matters. to think with clarity, to move with purpose, and to protect your mental energy like it's gold, because it is. Quiet the world, listen in, that's where your focus lies. Peaceful persistence beats frantic effort in the long run. It's not about how fast you move, it's about how consistently you show up, day after day. Quietly, intentionally, without panic, without noise. Frantic effort feels productive. It looks impressive on the surface, but it often burns out before it breaks through. Because when you're always rushing, you're not building, you're surviving. You're reacting. You're running on adrenaline, not strategy. Peaceful persistence is different. It's steady. It's focused. It doesn't collapse when things get hard. It adapts. It endures. There is strength in slow, deliberate progress. The kind that doesn't need to be seen to be effective, the kind that adds up over time, brick by brick, step by step, not for attention but for the sake of growth. Frantic effort tries to force results. Peaceful persistence trusts the process. It understands that meaningful success takes time. It knows the goal isn't just to arrive, but to arrive whole, grounded, and ready. In the rush to make it, many lose themselves. They sacrifice their peace for pace, they chase results and ignore alignment. But when you persist peacefully, you protect what matters most, your health, your clarity, your joy. You still work hard, but you don't lose yourself in the grind. You know when to push and when to pause. You know that discipline doesn't require panic. It requires patience and deep trust. You don't need chaos to succeed. You need rhythm. You need presence. You need to believe that quiet consistency will take you farther than loud bursts of energy. Because it will. Peaceful persistence doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It speaks through your actions, your habits, your growth. And one day, you'll look back and realize it wasn't the rush that got you there. It was the calm, it was the focus, it was the decision to keep going, without forcing, without fear, and without giving up. Grace under pressure is the mark of true success. Anyone can smile when life is easy. Anyone can stay calm when everything is going right. But who are you when the pressure builds, when the deadlines tighten, when the expectations rise and nothing feels certain? That's where grace is tested. That's where your character is revealed. Grace under pressure means keeping your poise even when things fall apart. It means speaking with kindness when your patience is thin. It means staying steady when the ground beneath you feels shaky. True success isn't just about results. It's about how you carry yourself while getting there. It's about how you treat others when you're stressed, tired, or challenged. Grace doesn't mean pretending. It means showing up with presence. It means choosing calm over chaos. It means leading yourself first, even when the path ahead is uncertain. You can be strong and soft at the same time. You can hold pressure and still treat people with dignity. You can chase big goals without stepping over your values. Grace makes you memorable. It builds trust. It earns respect without demand. It's not about perfection. It's about how you recover from setbacks, how you speak in hard moments, how you carry your energy through the fire. Pressure can't break someone who knows how to breathe through it, who knows how to slow down when things speed up, who knows that their power isn't in pushing harder but in staying aligned. You don't need to fight the storm, you need to anchor yourself in grace, that quiet strength that says, I can handle this, and I can handle it with peace. Grace under pressure doesn't mean weakness. It means mastery, mastery over ego, mastery over reaction, mastery over the noise. The world may watch what you achieve, but they'll remember how you achieved it. They'll remember the way you stood tall without arrogance. The way you stayed kind under fire, the way you held your peace when it mattered most. So as you move forward into challenges, into pressure, into growth, remember this: you don't need to rush, you don't need to shout. You don't need to prove your worth through noise or chaos. Your calm is your strength, your clarity is your guide, and your grace is your power. Stay grounded, stay centered, keep showing up with quiet confidence. Because real success isn't just about what you accomplish, it's about how you carry yourself while you do it. Keep calm and succeed, not just in the eyes of the world, but in the way you live, lead, and rise.